following podcast is brought to you by patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca. Like what you hear? Want more of it ad-free, uncensored, and earlier? Sign up today at patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca and start getting more for as little as $2 a month.
Time circuits on. Going back. Uploading hosts. Obtaining data on the best and worst of professional wrestling. Synchronizing hosts. Welcome to Wrestling with History.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Wrestling with History. I'm at Adam Conta, being joined with Jesse Redden. For those of you who are listening to us for free at WrestleMedia.ca, thanks so very much. For those of you who have been listening to us over at Patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca, an even bigger thank you for putting a few ducats in the bucket and supporting us financially. Today we're looking back on May 19th throughout the years. Before we get into that, though, I just wanted to quickly go ahead and mention some of the upcoming events we're going to be participating in, including this Sunday, May 19th. We'll be at the Cottage Country Comic-Con at the Mariposa Conference Center in Orillia, Ontario, featuring a WWE Hall of Famer, Greg the Hammer Valentine. We're also going to be giving you the chance to win a family pack of tickets to Northland Wrestling's Feel the Bang on May the 25th. You can visit cottagecountrycomiccon.com for more details about that event, and visit Northland Wrestling on Facebook for more details about that event on May 25th that you're not going to want to miss. Of course, Saturday, June 15th, we're going to be a part of Chinlock Wrestling and House of Hardcore's Legends Convention and Chinlock 5 event from the Leon Center in Kingston, Ontario, featuring Bret the Hitman Hart, the Brainbusters, Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson, Mark Henry, Billy Gunn, Jimmy Hart, Tugboat, Swoggle, Jimmy Corderas, Tommy Dreamer, and who knows who else will show up. Willie Mack, I'm pretty sure has been confirmed that he's going to be part of the show as well, which is very exciting. Impact Wrestling's latest signee. It's going to be a fantastic event that you're not going to want to miss. But we've recently added another event to our On the Road section, which you can visit over at WrestleMedia.ca. On June the 29th, we are going to be heading to Renfrew, Ontario, as Queen Street Entertainment puts on some live pro wrestling. There's going to be a mixed tag team match that you're definitely going to want to check out, and some other great bouts as well. So for all the details on where we are going to be appearing live, please make sure that you go visit WrestleMedia.ca and click the On Tour button, or you can just sign up for our newsletter. It's a weekly newsletter where we're giving you all the news and events that you need to know about WrestleMedia, and we're going to give you a chance at an exclusive contest where you can win 2 floor seats to that Chinlock Wrestling House of Hardcore event we were just promoting on June the 15th at the Leon Center in Kingston, Ontario. Very simple. Just head over to WrestleMedia.ca and you'll get a little pop-up. If not, just head over to the newsletter section. There's a little button up at the top. Click that, and you'll be on your way. All right, Jesse, I think I've done enough shilling there to open up the show. What do you say that we fire up the time circuits and go back?
Sorry, I kind of zoned out there. You just took up 25 minutes of my time. We're gonna be a lot of places and pay us patrons. Yeah, okay. See, I can easily say everything that you said in like 2 sentences.
You may have missed a few details there, but I guess essentially the same message. Come see us and give us money. Yes.
Yes. Come see us, give us money. Easy. Nice. Like I said, that's one sentence. I don't even have to. Anyway, let's just hit the button and let's go back and see what happens. Holy mackerel.
Our first stop is 1964 in Omaha, Nebraska. Vern Gagne defeated Mad Dog Vachon to win the AWA World Heavyweight Championship for the 7th time. I'm pretty sure Gagne would actually go on to be like a 10-time AWA champion. I'm not sure. Do you know if that's correct or not?
Oh yeah, like I know. I didn't even know that he was a one-time AWA World Heavyweight Champion. So yeah. But I was wondering if Mad Dog had already given birth to his daughter by that time.
That's a good question. Well, I can look that up. I just quickly checked out Vern Gagne on Wikipedia. For the record, by the way, he did have the championship 10 times. So there you have it. Confirmation. Now, Luna Vachon.
Good old Gagne.
Luna Vachon was born January 12th, 1962. So by doing some very quick detective work.
So she was 2 years old.
She would have been 2 years old at this point. Yeah, exactly. Of course, Luna would become a legend in her own right and would be inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. So pretty cool stuff, if you ask me. So there you go. Of course,
when I saw that, I was curious. So
yeah, Mad Dog and Vern had a long standing feud. So it's always kind of cool when I see that those two had a little battle. So just thought I'd mention that here. Now we're going to jump ahead.
Good pick.
Yeah, we're going to jump ahead 20 years now to 1984. A little bit of a sad post note for this one. Andy Kaufman dies of lung cancer in Los Angeles, California at just the age of 35. That's pretty depressing. I will be the same age as Andy Kaufman when he passed away this year. That's a little sad. But
I know I'm already a couple of years older than he is. He was. Yeah,
it's incredible to think about what an impact he had on the world of professional wrestling. Of course, if you don't know
Kaufman.
Yeah, if you don't know what we're talking about, of course, he had a legendary feud with Jerry Lawler down in Memphis. It got him worldwide appeal and a little bit of infamy. A lot of people weren't quite sure what to make of him in and out of the wrestling business. Did you ever see the movie Man on the Moon?
I did.
What did you think of it?
I liked it. It pulled back a bit of the curtain to show us exactly what was what. And we always knew that he was a unique individual, so that kind of just let us know he was, even more so. I
think that Kaufman's contributions really can't be understated enough, because without Kaufman, I don't think you get WrestleMania, where Vince McMahon drags out a bunch of celebrities because he thinks that they're going to draw. And I think because of that, you certainly don't get the likes of a David Arquette, who becomes a world champion because of that. And you don't get, guys like Stephen Amell who, tread the line between actor and wrestler and that sort of thing. So I think his and he
was such a good heel.
Oh yeah.
Like just him doing all of his shoot fighting with the women in the audience.
Yeah.
It was just hilarious.
He was a pretty incredible comedian. And if you haven't had a chance to see any of that stuff, do yourself a favor, go back and watch it, because it's pretty awesome, and it's very clear that he loved the business. As a matter of fact, I don't know where I read this, but I remember reading a story about how when Kaufman had passed and they went to clear out his stuff, they found a shoebox in his closet that had every single check that he had ever made from Memphis Wrestling, and none of them were cashed. He just loved the business so much he didn't care about the money. And I thought that was a really wonderful story. It always made me smile when I think about it. Moving ahead a little further to 1998, ECW presents A Matter of Respect from the ECW Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. That's a good title for a show, A Matter of Respect. I love that. There are a lot of matches featured on the show, but there are two that I want to focus on. The first was Chris Candido and Sabu versus Lance Storm and Rob Van Dam. Now, what I find interesting about this match is that, obviously, for those of you who followed ECW back in those times, you would know that Chris Candido and Lance Storm were tag team partners. Sabu and Rob Van Dam were tag team partners. So you had this really weird dynamic where it was two different tag teams essentially kind of mixed up. And I'll be honest, I don't know what the story was behind this, but immediately when I was looking through the results, that kind of popped out as being, that's a very interesting contest for sure. I don't know. Were you watching ECW around this time, 1998, 99?
No, not at all. But I just kind of surmise that the two tag teams were split in half and put together as it was showing a matter of respect.
Yeah, I wonder if that's what it was. I'm curious to know. So if any of our listeners out there know if that's the case, please tell us, because I'd be interested to know what the actual case was. And in the main event, we had Spike Dudley, the Sandman, and Tommy Dreamer facing the Dudleys, Big Dick, Bubba, and Devon in a Stairway to Hell match. Jesse, are you familiar with the concept of the Stairway to Hell?
Isn't that a ladder match?
It is a ladder match, but it's a ladder match with a very specific gimmick. Do you know what it is?
No, I don't.
Well, normally in a ladder match, you're climbing up the ladder to grab something, be it a championship belt or a Money in the Bank contract, for example. But in a Stairway to Hell match, it would oftentimes be a weapon of some sort, usually of a barbed wire nature. And if I'm not mistaken, actually, this match, it may have actually just been a spool of barbed wire that the wrestlers could use against one another. So, essentially, it was just kind of a weirder version of a pole match. Essentially, is what we got.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what I think that's what it was all about. Now I don't know about how.
Why was Spike Dudley not on the side of the Dudleys?
Well, because the Spike Dudley character was originally conceived as the runt of the Dudley litter. So he was essentially bullied by his brothers. They hated Spike. So Spike was the underdog. He was the guy you cheered for because you felt bad for him, because he kept getting bullied by his brothers.
Well, they obviously don't know my family, because I would not have been cheering for him whatsoever.
You would have just been like, yeah, beat him up.
He's the runt. Beat him down. Beat him down.
Only the strong survive.
He is weak. Excise him from the family.
That's too funny. So, yeah, basically what you're saying is, yeah, you still don't get it. Even if you understand why he was a babyface, you didn't agree with it.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. He should have been chained up and drug around like a dog. His name was Spike anyway.
Oh, jeez. Oh, man. Okay, well, let's move on then. I think this is falling into a dark territory here, so I'll move ahead. Let's jump ahead 1 year later. This is a very special anniversary. This is the 20-year anniversary of the WWF's No Mercy from the Manchester Evening News Arena in Manchester, England. Now, this show actually... Well, no, this is not the video game, nor is it the U.S. No Mercy pay-per-view that wrestling fans would become familiar with regarding the WWF or E. This was actually a show called No Mercy from Manchester. It's a little subtitle thing that they did as a UK exclusive pay-per-view, which would not be released in North America until January 4th of 2000, a couple months later. More than 6 months, actually, as a matter of fact. Now, this I didn't realize, but apparently both the VHS and the DVD releases of the event are highly sought after. Now, obviously, VHS copies are going to be worth a little bit more, but the reason the DVD is actually so sought after is because there's no edits to the original broadcast. You know, our patrons got to hear a little bit about a big change that happened to the WWF in 2002. I'm not going to be coy about it because they are, you know what I'm talking about here. They changed their name from WWF to WWE, and a lot of people will know that future releases after that always had this annoying thing where the WWF scratch logo was blurred out. And, of course, because it's WWF, that logo was everywhere. So it made watching their shows...
Especially the turnbuckles is what bothered me the most.
Yeah, it made it a little annoying. So to have a show that was released in 2010 with no edits whatsoever, that was a big deal for a lot of collectors. So if you have that DVD or VHS, hang on tight, because that's a big collector's item.
I have that VHS somewhere.
Now, I don't know, because I'll tell you something. If you do, fantastic. Hold on to that one. But if you may also be getting it confused with Mayhem in Manchester, which they did back in, I think, 1998, which was a big VHS release as well. So I don't know. But if you find it one day, let us know. Either way, I'd love to watch it. So
yeah, I'd have to look and check. Have to bring out the old VHS box.
Because it's the 20-year anniversary, I thought we'd just run down the entire card really quick and just maybe get some thoughts on, you know, is this a match you'd be excited to see or not? Starting with Tiger Ali Singh defeating Gillberg in 60... You didn't even have to finish that second. Well, for those listening, Singh beat Gillberg in 65 seconds. That's a way to start a match hot, or start your show hot, I should say. We had the Ministry of Darkness, Viscera, Farouk, and Bradshaw against the Brood, Gangrel, Edge, and Christian. That wouldn't be an okay match.
I think so. I think I wouldn't mind watching that. I don't understand. They're both kind of heels, though, so I don't know why they're both fighting each other.
I think at this time the Brood had turned babyface. By 1999...
You can't make a group of vampires a babyface.
Well, they did. I don't know what to tell you. They did.
No, they didn't. They didn't. They weren't stupid enough to make the Brood good guys.
They were. They turned their backs on the Ministry of Darkness. They never explained why. They just did. That was the beginning of the face turn, Fred. I'm telling you, it happened.
Doesn't make sense. It didn't happen. Your history is wrong.
Oh, boy. Now I really do hope you have this DVD and you can find it so that you can see they were babyfaces. Hey, this is a commercial for patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca, where you can get early access to episodes of your favorite WrestleMedia shows, get full uncut and uncensored versions of your favorite shows, and more. Don't want to hear this commercial on your podcast anymore? Sign up at our main event tier and get these episodes ad-free. Want to hear your own commercial here instead of ours? We've got tiers for that too. Visit patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca and join the WrestleMedia revolution today. Steve Blackman defeated Droz. Okay.
Before he was in the wheelchair?
Yes, Jesse, before he suffered his unfortunate accident. Kane defeated Midian, but... Sorry, did you have something else to add to that horrible statement?
No, I'll leave it be.
Okay. Kane defeated Midian by disqualification. Main event anywhere in the country. Nicole Bass...
Was this Midian before his clothes or after his clothes?
This was before he decided to take his clothes off. Yes, it was not naked
okay.
Midian. Nicole
He wasn't naked Midian.
He was not. No. Nicole Bass defeated Tori in just 27 seconds. Another barn burner, to be sure. Shane McMahon.
Nicole Bass.
Yeah, she wasn't exactly a looker. I would probably say that's true. Very impressive physique, but we'll leave it at that. Shane McMahon defeated X-Pac to retain the WWF European Championship. I've always loved those matches. I thought they were really fun. Shane McMahon should have always stayed that way as the punk kid who didn't know how to wrestle. I'll just leave it at that. Mr. Ass defeated Mankind. Billy Gunn versus Mankind is not a match that you would see very often. Maybe that's what I'll ask.
No.
Maybe I'll ask Billy about that when he's in Kingston. Well, I'll ask him and see, hey, what was it like working McFoley in Manchester? What was that all about? And he'd probably be like, I don't know what you're talking about, kid. Get out of here. You bug me.
I've never wrestled him. Shut up.
There you go. And in the main event, Steve Austin defeated both The Undertaker and Triple H in an anything goes triple threat match to retain the WWF Championship. Although I think triple threats and anything goes, it just kind of, there's never a DQ in a triple threat. It doesn't make any sense.
No, there shouldn't be. I never understood why they said that, because there wasn't any.
Well, there you go. So me and Jesse want answers, damn it. Now
they have a lot of explaining to do.
They sure do. Now, on the very same night, across the world, across the Atlantic, not in Philadelphia, in the Mid-Hudson Civic Center in Poughkeepsie, New York, ECW was presenting Hardcore Heaven. This was also a 20-year anniversary show, so I thought we'd kind of run down through the card. Taz defeated Chris Candido. Woo, it's easy for me to say.
Can to go?
Yeah, exactly. Can to go.
Can to go.
Yeah. Taz defeated Chris Candido via submission in just 70 seconds to retain the ECW World Heavyweight Championship. What is it? Both these shows back-to-back, one in England, one in U.S., both opening matches.
And squash matches.
And all both less than 90 seconds. Like, that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
So
they wanted to start off strong.
I guess so. Now, of the two matches, though, one probably was a little stronger than the other.
I think the Taz can to go match would probably be better.
Yes, I agree. Following that contest, the Dudley Boys, Bubba Ray and Devon, defeated Balls Mahoney and Spike Dudley to retain the ECW Tag Team title. So you would have been happy about this because Spike Dudley got beaten.
Again.
Yes.
Good.
Super Crazy defeated Taka Michinoku, which was probably a good match. I've never been disappointed by it.
Why was Taka Michinoku on ECW?
Oh, Taka actually had quite a few appearances in ECW. First, with some Michinoku Pro guys as part of the BWO Japan group, which I believe would become Kai and Tai in the WWF. So they actually had a pretty good working relationship with Taka and Michinoku Pro. So there you go. Another Japanese superstar that you're probably a little more familiar with, Yoshihiro Tajiri, defeated Little Guido. Again, probably a great match. All their kind of international talent was really top notch. Lance Storm defeated.
It's a very racist name.
Well, I mean, I don't know what Tajiri means in Japanese, but I'm sure it's not racist.
I wasn't talking about him, and you know it.
Oh, sorry. My bad. Lance Storm defeated Tommy Dreamer. Big win for Lance Storm there. Rob Van Dam defeated Jerry Lynn in a no time limit match to retain the ECW World Television Championship. I know you weren't watching.
That's because the television title used to be a 10-minute time limit, right?
I don't know if that rule applied in ECW. I think it was more so because Rob Van Dam and Jerry Lynn had been having a series of really fantastic matches. Although I am sure that they did end up doing a couple of time limit draws because Jerry Lynn was kind of being positioned as this guy that might finally snap Rob Van Dam's, record-setting TV title run. And he never did, but this was just one of many matches that those two had that would end up putting them both on the map in ECW and all over the world. So if I have seen the match, it's great. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, it's the match they used to debut the ECW on TNN pilot. So go out of your way to watch this one. It's really good. If you've got the network, it's an easy hookup. Then Sid showed up and beat Just Incredible via disqualification. Now there's a guy who showed up for a cup of coffee and then left, because that's all I remember him being involved in ECW.
Wow. I didn't even know Sid made it in ECW.
Yeah, for I think like 2 shows, and then he left.
He was there for 1999, and then he was there for 2000, and he was gone.
Yeah. And in the main event, Taz defeated Bubba Ray Dudley via submission in a Falls Count Anywhere match to retain the ECW World Heavyweight title. Well, at least they gave them a proper match for the main event.
Yeah, but both Taz and Bubba had to do double duty that night.
Yeah, but I mean, let's be honest. Bubba really got the short end of that stick. Let's be honest.
Yeah, so the Falls Count Anywhere match? Absolutely.
Well, then,
although, why did the other Dudley boys come out and help him win?
I mean, maybe they tried. I haven't seen the match in a long time, so they might have gone out to help him. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe. But yeah, Hardcore Heaven, 99. 1 year later, at a SmackDown taping in Detroit, Michigan, Gerald Briscoe would defeat Crash Holly to win the WWF Hardcore Championship. This is one of my favorite moments from the entire history of the hardcore division. You're laughing, so I assume you remember what happened.
I remember Gerald Briscoe winning. I don't remember exactly how, though.
Crash Holly had paid the APA to protect him for an hour while he slept. He just wanted to catch a nap, but he'd been tired because of the 24/7 rule. He hadn't been getting any sleep. So he paid.
Right. This is the one where in a hotel room.
No, it was actually backstage in the APA quote unquote office. You know how they had that portable office where it was really just a door?
Right.
Okay. So, but it didn't matter because the APA were going to protect him. So it wouldn't matter. But after the hour, I guess they tried to wake him up and he was so fast asleep that they just left. So Gerald Briscoe comes with a referee and it's all quiet. And even Michael Cole and Jerry Lawler, who are on commentary, are like, Gerald Briscoe making the pinfall. They're whispering the entire time. And then he makes the pinfall and he wins the hardcore title. And then the referee trips over something and they wake up. They go to the ring to have a match. But then Pat Patterson comes out to help out Gerald Briscoe. He tries to give the stink face to Crash, who ends up kicking him in the groin and then shoving a baton up his butt and then going after Gerald Briscoe. It's completely ridiculous, and it's one of my favorite things ever from WWF in 2000. It
sounds like a lot of farcity that you would enjoy.
Yes, I'm a big fan of the farce. I'm a big farce fan.
Yes, I'm sure you are.
And one last event we want to cover here, 2004, the 15th anniversary of WWE's Judgment Day from the Staples Center in Los Angeles, California. 18,722 folks in attendance with 235,000 homes watching on pay-per-view. Now that's down from 315,000 homes for the 2003 event, which, if I'm not mistaken, was a co-branded pay-per-view in 2003. This edition in 2004 was SmackDown only. Now, there are two matches that I want to bring up specifically. The first one is the, as far as I know, only pay-per-view appearance of Mordecai defeating Scotty 2 Hotty. I may be wrong on that, but I'm fairly sure this is the only time.
Was he accompanied by Rigby?
He was not, actually. Now, on our Patreon portion of the show, we talked about another wrestler who was brought in to be the antithesis to The Undertaker. Clearly, that's what we got with Mordecai. I don't know if you remember Mordecai at all, but...
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
The White Undertaker.
Absolutely, yes.
The staff.
Yes.
Stuck into the ground.
Yes, and completely flopped because they never did anything with him outside of having him beat Scotty 2 Hotty on pay-per-view. So... little footnote in history. And then, of course...
He was a vampire. The guy that played him later went on to become a vampire, didn't he?
He did become a vampire, yes, and not a babyface, I will add. So maybe there was something to your theory. By the way, I'm going to call the name of this episode Vampires Aren't Babyfaces.
They're not, darn it. I don't care what Twilight tried to do. He was bad. He was a bad guy.
Yes, he was. And in the main event, we had John Bradshaw Layfield defeating Eddie Guerrero by disqualification in their WWE Championship match. For those of you that don't remember this one, this is the match where Eddie bled buckets. And I mean, this is one of the bloodiest matches I've ever seen in my life. Did you see this match? Do you remember this match?
No, I don't remember it at all. No.
Go out of your way to watch it, like just this match, or even just the end of it, because it's disgusting. Like, it is gross how much blood Eddie Guerrero drains out of his skull on this one. And if I'm not mistaken, Eddie had to be rushed to the hospital that night to repair some of the damage that had been done. It is an absolute bloodbath. It's a spectacle, to be sure. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't take a sick pleasure in that. Like, I don't watch that and I'm like, oh, that's amazing. It's just kind of it's fascinating to me. What's so funny?
I was just thinking of the vampires and the blood.
Back to the vampires.
He's just sitting there licking the mat afterwards. All this wasted. All it's wasted.
God. What accent was that? Was that your vampire accent?
Come with me, Eddie. I will take you home.
It's a pretty good Transylvanian accent. I like that. Now,
yeah, that's all. I don't know why. You just started saying gushing blood, and all I could think of was this poor vampire crying in the corner. No, it's wasting. It's wasting.
Who's your favorite TV vampire?
Grandpa.
Oh, from the Munsters?
Yes.
I think my favorite TV vampire is Count Blah from, oh my goodness, Greg the Bunny. You probably don't remember that show.
Okay. I actually, I was a big fan of Duckula as well.
Oh yeah. And and Frightenstein, the Hilarious House of Frightenstein. Wasn't he the vampire in that as well? A lot of great TV vampires.
Yes.
A lot of great TV vampires is what we're getting at here.
Well, there are, but vampires are not good guys.
But none of them baby faces. They're all
That's
heels.
right. They're all healed. They're vampires. They suck blood. They're bad guys.
Now, one last thing we want to mention before we wrap the show up. We don't talk about birthdays a lot, but it's something we might end up talking about. Specifically, there was one birthday that I wanted to mention because I know you'd be excited to celebrate it, which is today.
That's right, my boy.
Today is the 45th birthday of Das Wunderkind, Alex Wright.
Now, I know he doesn't look exactly like he did back in his 18-year-old days dancing for me on WCW Nitro, but still, Alex Wright, he'll always be my boy. So happy birthday, Alex. If you want to come dance for me, I'll open the door to you anytime.
He will let you in, unless, of course, you're a vampire, in which case he won't do that because...
Yes, and then I will not say, you will not be let in my house.
Because you have to invite them in. And he wouldn't do that because, as we all know, vampires are not baby faces.
That's right. They're not good guys. They are not.
Oh, my God. I can't believe that's how we're going to end the show. And yet, there it is. I think that really just goes to show you that we are at the point where we need to stop. Clearly, the time circuits are messing with our mental capacity here, Jesse. So I think maybe it's time for us to shut it down for another week. What do you think?
All I'm thinking of now is Alex Wright dancing into my home.
Well, while you do that, I will thank our listeners for tuning in this week. And Okay, what?
Yeah, we can thank them.
Okay, good.
We can thank them.
They
should be thanking us. We're the ones that are doing all the work. All they're doing is sitting there listening. They're either driving to work or sitting in the basement or doing day jobs, all that real life stuff.
Well, if Jesse's tangent has made you feel guilty about any of that, you can always try to kind of alleviate some of that guilt by putting a few ducats in the bucket over at patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca, where you can pay a little bit of money and get a whole lot extra. Go and check out all the features and tiers we have over there. If you want to help us out another way, you can give us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes or any of the other podcast providers that allows for that. Don't forget to come check us out on tour. All the dates and times are available at WrestleMedia.ca, where you can also find our social media platforms. You can like and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or on Instagram. Jesse, anything else you want to say before we sign off for the week?
Just as always, thank you very much. Remember, come see us and pay us. That's the new slogan of Wrestling with History. Come see us and pay us.
Oh, let's wrap this up, please.
Remember, we're the ones doing all the work, and we appreciate you guys for letting us into your home. Until next week, that's history.
Time circuits overload. Begin podcast self-destruct sequence.
1, 2, 3.
This has been a presentation of WrestleMedia, where everything is wrestling and wrestling is everything.
Here's what you're missing out on right now over at patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca. I would love to see a Freddie Blassie bloodbath. He was pretty famous for those things. So I think if I have to...
Yeah, to have the match, had to have the match stopped by blood, there had to be a significant amount. So
yeah, so I think I would give the nod to the main event. That's probably the one I would go with. So they made a good choice in putting that on last, especially if they had to, as you said, stop the match due to blood. I mean, you can't really top that finish, right? So
what are you guys going to do after that? Oh, we're going to stop the match because I'm going to bleed him to death. What?
Want more? Sign up now at patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca.